Lien has worked with numerous well-known attachment therapists, including Colnell Watkins, who was the therapist who was involved in the killing of Candace Newmaker, and Neil Feinberg, both of whom have permanently lost their ability to legally practice in Colorado. Lien wrote a description of attachment therapy, or corrective attachment therapy, which was submitted for evaluation along with other various mental health practices by the National Crime Victims Research and Treatment Center. Attachment therapy alone was given the lowest ranking, or concerning treatment. These therapy evaluations were published in 2003 by the U.S. Department of Justice, in which it stated that practitioners should refrain from using experimental, concerning, or potentially dangerous treatments such as coercive attachment therapies. In 2018, Lien's speaking engagement on RAD at the campus of the University of Wyoming was canceled at the urging of the school psychology department. In 2019, it was noted that the Institute could declared on his website that it would begin to use the diagnosis invented by Bessel van der Kolk called developmental trauma disorder instead of RAD. The Institute reassured the public that we will continue to provide children and their families with the same family-based treatment model that has transformed the lives of children for nearly 40 years. That would mean more attachment therapy. Now, if you want more information on attachment therapy, you will need to go back and listen to our episode on Candace Newmaker, or episode 1 of Emma's story on RAD and attachment theories. That will give you a little more in-depth understanding if you haven't listened to that already and you're a little lost. Go back and listen to that and you will gain some insight on what these attachment therapies are and the harm that they cause towards our children. So I wanted to go ahead and read off some of these quotes from Forrest Lien, some of his most telling quotes from his books. Some of the most telling say, I say, we do therapy a little different here in Colorado. Kids hop up on my lap, they're laid across my lap, I'm not holding him down, and he's scared. What's he scared of? He's scared I'm going to hurt him? Perhaps. But I think what he's mostly scared of is I'm going to have his number. He's saying that he wants to do it my way. They hate how controlling I can be. Discipline and control equals love and nature. So they go in this therapeutic foster home and they see a pretty bossy lady in the beginning. They think she's the wicked witch of the north and I'm the wicked therapist of the north because we are so bossy. Welcome to the war zone. So what are we asking these kids to do? Give it up to be vulnerable again? To them, they think they'll die. That's what the war zone is for families. If I pull a kid into an interview, he's going to give me the symptoms. Now, if I pull him up on my lap, I'm going to see some symptoms. So kids end up raging, little terrors in the house, and it pushes the parent into being punitive, which I wanted to dig into this quote a little bit. I am a parent myself, and one thing that I have learned in my modern day parenting is that my children's behavior at no point affects how I am to react to them. And as an adult, especially as someone in this kind of industry where you have taken an oath to protect these kids, at no point should these parents be pushed into being punitive by their children, in my opinion. As grown adults, you have every choice of how you react and how you treat your children. No matter what, you are the one who is expected to have your shit together. And so for this quote to say that these kids end up raging, little terrors in the house, and it pushes the parent into being punitive, frustrates me in a sense, because kids will be kids, kids are kids. I understand that there are some who have extenuating circumstances, but nonetheless, at no point should these kids' behavior be made out to act as if it's their fault that the parents are having to react in a bad way, because I just don't think that that's the case. So here's some quotes on Forrest Lien on holding therapies. The problem is this: because of the Institute, it has been around for 33 years, and there has never been a child hurt in therapy. Now, again, let me redirect you to the episode 1, I believe, on Candace Newmaker, who was killed at the institute that Forrest Lien directed at the time by attachment therapies with Connell Watkins, who now does not have her license or the ability to practice anymore after serving her time in prison. So we already know that that quote right there is not fact. Here's some more quotes on his attitude towards children. From Saving Children, Saving Families, Saving Lives, Forrest Lien said, "I am empathetic about your life. I think it sucks. This isn't nice therapy to make them feel nice. No pain, no gain. Whose fault is that? I wasn't there when it started, and it is their fault now." He stated that for the alarms in the buildings, they do put circuit breaker alarms on the doors. And these are some of his quotes that he says dismissing birth parents. Because keep in mind, a lot of children who struggle with RAD are adopted children. So he says, say goodbye to your parents and move on. I'm going to show you a tape about telling a kid about his birth mom. Because don't you have to say goodbye to say hello? The problem is these kids grow up turning out just like their birth parents, even when they don't live with them. I'll put up the wall on the legacies. Your dad was a drug dealer. He was a sex addict. He was an alcoholic. Kids are thieves, liars, and con artists. What's he going to get? What's he going to be? Just like his parent? You will abuse your children. You will hurt your kids. These are the kinds of thoughts that he's putting into these children's minds. So you have a choice, John. You can choose to work hard to change that, or you're going to pass this on and you're going to hurt your kids too. What are you going to do? Are you going to work in our program and try to get better and heal your heart? Or are you going to honor your birth dad? Now, isn't that a conflict for them? Here's some of his quote on treatment families. Our treatment families are the key to our program because our treatment families have been in your shoes. They move to Colorado and they make it their profession. That's who we have doing treatment. I'll match them up with any therapist in this room as far as our clinical ability to understand symptoms in these kids. In Colorado, if you have a runner, we put them at Connie's house or Jackie's house because they live in the mountains. If you run away in the mountains, you're putting your life at risk. If you run in Colorado, you're prey to predators. What a contradiction in terms there. I mean, these kids like to prey on others. Again, I want to note that when he says that when they have a runner, they put them in Connie's house because they live in the mountains, I want you to see that is intentional, that they are secluding these children so they cannot get outside access to help. And I want to also play on the fact that Connie's house was the house that Emma actually escaped from and survived. So he wasn't completely correct there. Now, why do we have kids leave their forever parents during treatment? Because isn't that kind of a contradiction of attachment? A lot of people ask that question. By separating them, can we measure their conflict about not being with their parents? We can measure how much attachment they have or don't have. So they go to Connie's and the kids don't want to listen. She gets on the horn and says, "Forrest, I don't think Johnny's interested in this program. And you know, she's cross-talking with me over the phone. Maybe tomorrow in therapy, you might want to let his parents know that maybe this isn't going to work. And maybe they need to go home or take care of themselves." While the kids' ears are this big and the kids say, "That's not what I want. I don't want to go home with my family." And mom and dad have a smile on their face and they're going for a nice dinner in the mountains and they're going for a hike and the kid says, "Can I go with you?" "Oh, sweetheart, I would love it if you went with us. Looks like you're not ready. Are you doing a good job at Mommy Connie's house?" "No, Mom," he says. "Oh, I'm so sad for you, sweetheart, but I'm still looking forward to spending alone time with Daddy." Now the kids own the conflict. Here's some quotes on compliance training. Again, from the same book, from Saving Children, Saving Families, Saving Lives. So they're learning how to do go, sit, come and stay on the parents' terms. Isn't that what little kids learn? Toddlers learn that. Now the kid's 10, he's got some catching up to do. You have to treat the attachment disorder so that they'll be more compliant to do the neurodevelopmental protocols. Maybe you'll get better in spite of yourself. Maybe you'll like having parents being in charge of the family. Maybe you'll like putting a smile on your face by doing simple things like, Mom, I swept the kitchen floor really good, and you're so proud of me and I'm proud of me, because our payoff for these kids is what? Having a family. So there are more quotes on here, but one of my thoughts on that again is the issue that you're rewarding these children with having a family. So you are saying to these children that you have conditional love. As long as you sweep the floor properly and make me proud of you, then you are rewarded by having a family. If you step outside of that, then we will take away this family and this love, and we are going to ship you back to this treatment facility to become compliant. That doesn't sound like a healthy family scene to me. In fact, with my children, I don't give a flying F what they do. I will love them no matter what, and at no point would I ever risk taking away their family because they didn't make me happy with some action that they did. And again, I want to state that I do understand extenuating circumstances. Absolutely, 100% of me does. However, I just don't think that Forrest Lien himself is going about this the correct way, nor do many other people, as a matter of fact, because if we go up to what I said earlier, he has been continuously put on probation and made to take extra courses, and talks have been canceled because it's so controversial what he teaches. And we know from Emma's story that how he's helping children is not helping children. All right, and finally, before I end, I wanted to go ahead and give some quotes from Forrest on his background. He says, I was still in my finishing of my graduate work. I had to go to this workshop. It was a child development class, and it was on attachment disorder. This was in 1982. I heard about this kook coming to talk about this attachment therapy stuff. I heard about the media, the people who hold kids and make them mad, and all that stuff, and I didn't want to go. He shows a videotape of this kid in his arms, this therapist, this kid flailing in his arm, kicking and screaming, calling him every foul